Welcome to another live stream, my friends. What a day it's been in the markets, and more importantly, what's to come. Today, I'm coming at you with a much different vibe and giving Bearish Stu a timeout for now. Nothing I've said about Bitcoin recently has changed. However, I feel very different about altcoins currently, you guys. Is it possible that we are actually going to get some sort of an alt season, the promised lands, the next moon landing? Today, guys, I mostly want to take a look at altcoins, as so many have been showing amazing strength over the course of the day, and even a little further back on some select few coins, and a lot are just sitting at some interesting levels. So with that, I want to start things off by actually taking a look at Aster, because you guys, this is a setup that I shared ahead of time on live stream and as well in my Telegram. Pointing out this potential support level, basically down towards 78 cents would have been invalidated. Notice that we got the bounce right on that level. Absolutely beautiful to see. And we are getting very close to my second take profit. Notice I have an alert there to let me know if it happens. So if that type of thing interests you, if you want to see more examples, how I pull fibs, how I look at market structure, all that sort of stuff, guys, do yourselves a favor, scan that QR code on the screen, get in the Telegram. But yeah, guys, getting very close to my second target on Aster, and just a beautiful run it's been, right? Nothing crazy about this move. Basically had a diagonal trend line, just connecting something like that. Ended up getting the third touch point there, a little bit of a swing fail below that, which also matched up with the swing fail of my horizontal fibs, right? The fact that we came down to a double bottom and just going into my fib pocket a little bit there, I just couldn't really resist that type of a long opportunity, because even though I wasn't bullish at the time, I was still very much so looking at it as a buy level for what it is. So beautiful long playing out there. But so many other altcoins are also looking juicy, you guys. Near had a nice pump today. Phil had a nice pump. Zcash has been absolutely killing it lately. Solana sitting at an interesting level I'll get into. Troll sitting at an interesting level. So a lot of interesting things going on, you guys. And even Bitcoin today. I know it's mostly going on about altcoins today, but I do want to take a look at Bitcoin very quickly here as well. I did say in the Telegram, and maybe even on my last stream, that I might regret not longing support. This is one of those times where, yeah, unfortunately, I never longed support down here. And we've just been setting higher highs and confirming higher lows along the trend, right? Not only that, the MDX Trend Master is now printing a beautiful uptrend here, because we ended up breaking this sell signal back here. So far, just holding this buy trend, that pink line the whole way. But also notice all of these green lines are just micro analyzing structure, basically just pointing out every time that we basically set a higher high like this, that confirms a higher low for us. So every time along this little uptrend, we haven't broke that trend yet. We're getting very close right now, but support is support until it's broken. And yeah, basically this trend has just been phenomenal today on Bitcoin as well. One thing I do have concerns about is the 4 hour still has not broken the lower high, even on the microstructure on the 4 hour. If we end up breaking out of this range, that's where I start to expect us to test resistance of my 4 hour range, the bigger range, because this would be our low. This is our lower low. So our actual macro resistance is more so pulled from this level here, for the way I pull fibs anyways. But on top of that, the fact that we haven't broke that yet, notice with the Trend Master, we still do technically have those lower trending sell signals. And we did basically pump right up to the resistance of this indicator, and now facing it as potential resistance. So just understand that we're not totally in the clear yet. However, I do see some signs of strength. Like I said, a lot of altcoins showing a lot of strength, but even Bitcoin here, I am actually, not so much that I missed that 5-minute setup that I was just showing you on the lower time frame, but I am disappointed I missed this on the 4 hour. I never had my RSI up, and this is literally my favorite bullish reversal pattern to play, even more so than Stuber's. Anything like that. When it comes to backtesting, years ago, I backtested the hell out of this, and this was my favorite bullish reversal pattern. I have my best hit rate of any of my backtested strategies is this very specific divergence on the RSI lining up with this type of a double bottom. And it hurts me to see that this played out absolutely perfectly, and that would have been such a beautiful entry when we got that confirmation of the closed double bottom, basically with such a divergence, just because it goes from overextended that oversold conditions up to the regular 30 level there. That's a very specific divergence I look for. So that's where I think that it's very possible that Bitcoin could get a bigger move out of this. Also, the fact that if you look at the relative strength when we were trading at this resistance here, we actually have more strength on the RSI right now, even though we're not quite that high yet. So just a bit of a divergence happening there as well. So I think that there is a possibility there. And as well, guys, it's looking to me like the retail long short indicator. It's looking to me like retail shorts are starting to climb a little bit. It's a little early to say that this is for sure, but it just looks like we're getting some sort of a double bottom here. And it looks like they're trying to curl to the upside. So if we see retail actually shorting into this resistance here, which is actually shorting resistance is actually intelligent, but the fact that market makers love to use that liquidity, right? So if retail is actually wising up and starting to short at resistance levels, that's unfortunately potentially gonna, well, I don't know if I should say unfortunately, but that may potentially give us a bit of a short squeeze where retail starts to short and market makers end up using that liquidity and pushing us higher and breaking this downtrend here. That would be absolutely beautiful to see. The weekly chart, I still have a lot of concerns about where we're at. This candle is going to close in a couple of days, so we have some time yet. But so far, it's getting bought back up pretty good. The bulls would have to make one heck of a recovery to end up not closing this candle below this structure. But crazier things have happened, so anything is possible. I'm going to have to watch that on Sunday. Bitcoin dominance also looks like it. I'm really hoping that it ends up just collapsing here. Obviously, the market doesn't care what I want, but just seeing that we have this tightly coiled consolidation up this upward trending diagonal support line, it looks like we're finally starting to test the idea of testing below that. So I'm hoping we can actually get a close below, flip that support into resistance, see Bitcoin dominance drop off a cliff. That would be so good for the altcoins. And like I said, there's already those signs of so many altcoins performing well recently that having Bitcoin dominance drop off a cliff like that would also line up with my theories about, even if I'm correct about my bearish theories about Bitcoin and that, let's just say that the market cycle is in. I don't know if it is, right? But if my theory is correct that the top could be in, we would still very likely get some sort of moment where altcoins get their moment to shine. And that would tie in very closely like that. So that's why it's not so much that this video is, bullish compared to, my previous videos. It's not like I'm changing my opinion about that. It's just that I've typically speaking, the last few cycles anyways, or the last couple, after Bitcoin tops, that's when altcoins get their moment in the sun and altcoins go for their rally to basically end the cycle. So if we get that kind of situation where a whole bunch of altcoins start doing this type of price action, for example, yeah, the FOMO will stick around for a while. And I would love to see altcoins just, have their moment for, a month or two, something like that. That's not off the table at this point. I think it's very possible. Also, like I was talking about, even the ones that haven't taken off, like realistically at this point, eventually these things that are absolutely parabolic, eventually they get some sort of a harsh sell-off. But I mean, it can go. This isn't the kind of train that I would want to stand in front of that's got some very strong momentum to it. So I'm not interested in shorting this at this point. But the way the altcoin market is right now, there is literally tens of millions of different coins out there at this point. There is literally coins being created every couple seconds, if not every second at this point. Unfortunately, like previous market cycles where there was only, a few thousand, or then last cycle, I think was more like 20,000 coins. I mean, it's very possible for most things to actually go for a run. Unfortunately, this cycle, altcoin market got so diluted that it's just not likely that everything's going to pump. So it's going to be, there's still going to be some coins that perform very well, but it's not going to be as easy as previous market cycles. But I think there will be some sort of a rotation going through different altcoins. And, I think looking for those support levels with altcoins, because another thing that has happened, which is why I think another reason why it's very possible that altcoins, some sort of an alt cycle happens, is because I've talked about it a lot that, if we get to that phase of the cycle, what we will often see is that, yeah, while Bitcoin's selling off, it's very likely that altcoins are going to be getting punished with Bitcoin. However, when Bitcoin finds any sort of support, like what we've seen right here, I mean, what did Bitcoin end up pumping? Let me just get out the trusty ruler here from bottom to top. We got about a 5% move. That's great for Bitcoin. But let's look at Aster, for example. And this is not to shill Aster. I have zero emotional attachment to it or anything. But from where it bottomed out, 40%. So, and let's look at near, where we ended up just bottoming out. Let's even go with this low right here. It was about a 70% climb to the upside. But notice where we're at, right? A lot of people are starting to get very bearish on altcoins while we were trading down here. And notice that I say quite often, a buy level is a buy level, whether I'm bullish or not. Like with Aster, with that position, it's not that I was bullish on Aster. It was just that it was at a buy level. So I took it. Now we look at something like near here. When we look at this entire cycle here, notice where we are. We're in that Stuber pocket, right? We ended up finding support in that Stuber pocket. We went slightly lower than the 886, but nowhere near invalidating the whole thing. But even where we ended up bottoming out here on that big liquidation day, go from the bottom of that wick, just like that one long position I took on Bitcoin, for example, right? But just notice that we're inside we just tested another 786, right? So it's nice to see that as long as Bitcoin is holding even relatively strong at all, or just not absolutely nuking to the downside, we're seeing altcoins just explode off support levels. And that's where I think this market cycle, especially for the next month or so, I mean, anything can happen, obviously. If something spooks the market and they all start crashing again just as fast as they pumped, whatever, maybe it is full on bear market time, who knows? But at this point, I'm looking at things as, there is some signs of strength from altcoins, and I'm interested in trading these. So even though, yes, I'm still interested in catching that big short on Bitcoin, I'm more so very interested as far as active trading goes, looking more for the long side on altcoins, now that they're breaking some structure, looking at pullbacks, looking at lower time frame Stubers and that sort of thing. So near is definitely one on my radar. Already played a scalp on it earlier. Aster, like I said, I'm still in that position that I shared here with you guys. Zcash, that one's risky. That one is so volatile at this point. It's just a little bit risky. On the 5-minute, we have actually broke some structure to the downside, getting that. Ooh, that's actually a nasty sign. I wish I would have seen that ahead of time. I would have taken that tight stop loss scalp, just because that's a serious reversal warning. Doesn't always play out. Down here it didn't. But I take that warning quite serious. But unfortunately, it's already dropped quite a bit from there. So there is some warning signs, but momentum on the long time frame is scary there. Solana, yeah, looking beautiful here. The fact that we did basically come down to my 886, finding support. I know yesterday, or was it Wednesday when I was streaming, I said I wasn't overly interested in taking it. Again, Captain Hindsight, yeah, I probably should have just bought the buy level, but I never did. But this is another one that on the lower time frames, I'm willing to start scalping Solana, willing to start basically trading things like Solana, Near, Aster, Ethereum, Hype, all those types of altcoins. I'm going to start having those on my radar a little bit more moving forward. How are you all feeling in the chat? Do you guys think I'm totally out to lunch? Have you guys given up on altcoin season? Because the thing is, it's easy to get fatigued with that when you look at social media and you see the same influencers with the huge following saying altcoin season starting now every few hours, basically for the last year, basically. It gets tiresome, but now it just kind of makes sense for where we are in the cycle and everything, that at least we're starting to see some signs now. Before it was, people claiming that was more so just a random guess and just clickbait more than anything. But to see so many coins respecting support so well and being at interesting buy levels and stuff like that, I'm very interested in altcoins right now. Like I said, troll is another one. I know I've mentioned this many times in the past. Whenever we get towards a large support level, basically, I'm DCAing into this one as my meme coin of choice. Obviously, it's very high risk, guys. This only has like a $50 million market cap or something. And obviously, yeah, it went huge. I caught like a 25x on it the first time, and I've just been reaccumulating on the way down. And the fact that we came down to my 886, the macro, the entire cycle 886 support last night that I added a bunch to my position. Yeah, it's high risk. I might lose it, but I was taking some of my profits from my Bitcoin shorts and using that to dollar cost average into some other coins that, I'm hoping that, hey, if there is an alt season, hopefully they perform very well. If not, if it's bear market time, I'm okay with that too, right? I'm not betting the farm on this. This is just more so, just basically keep risk management in mind, right? I'm saying that it's very possible we go into some sort of an altcoin season, but understand I'm not married to that idea. If we start seeing weakness and we see things breaking structure to the downside again, and the market in general nuking off a cliff, nothing's really going to be immune to that. Well, maybe the odd thing like Zcash, but all in all, I'm at least comfortable because I also, guys, here's another thing is I definitely treat investing very different than trading. So something like this is just kind of fun investment as far as a meme coin goes. Whereas coins like, near Aster, Phil, Solana, Ethereum, Hype, Bitcoin, I'm actually interested in trading those with leverage. So that's different. I have spot holdings, but I also like to trade with leverage. So treat those things very differently. I'm not too concerned about my hodl positions because either they will do well over time or they won't. I don't have that big of an emotional attachment to my spot bags just because I know that I'm at heart, I'm more of a trader. I more care about the trading side of it. I trade with more than I hodl. So, yeah, just basically depends what you're into, right? A guy like me, I'm mostly trading the 5-minute. You guys know that. But at the same time, the type of structure I show, it's probably like not everybody wants to trade the 5-minute, right? So if someone here wants to swing trade the 4-hour and they see me microanalyzing the 5-minute, they may think, well, what am I doing here? But structure works as structure, right? I don't care if it's a 5-minute chart, a 1-hour chart, a 4-hour chart, a daily, a weekly chart. I treat it all the same. And that's exactly why this troll chart actually caught my attention more so recently, is because if this was a 5-minute chart, I would not be looking for long entries until we dropped back down to this level. And the fact that it happened on a macro time frame, a lot of people would say, oh, that's basically gone to zero, right? But every market cycle Bitcoin has done this on a very large scale, right? I've shown that on the weekly chart many times. So like I said, the weekly chart, the 5-minute chart, the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, structure is structure at the end of the day. Obviously, just takes a lot longer for longer time frames to play out. Guys, if you do appreciate my level-headed approach in this market, not getting too much FOMO, but also not getting scared, just trying to be the voice of reason in this market and just look at the charts for what they are, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That goes a long way for a small channel such as myself. I hope you are all absolutely crushing this market. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit. How does this uptrend in BTC lay against the retail long short? Well, basically, since retail was building long, since back here is where they really flipped bullish and started trying to long everything, that the whole time the buyers have basically been in control. So today's current uptrend, basically we saw the shorts building a little bit, right? The bottom would have been somewhere about there. So as it started climbing, you see the retail shorts start to climb and you see the price basically follow. The price basically follows what retail shorts are doing. That RSI could have easily gone lower on BTC, just a lot of volatility in crypto. Yeah, if you're talking about that 4-hour setup I mentioned, yes, it could have gone lower. However, that is a very specific double bottom pattern that I typically play, and I missed it. I missed my own favorite strategy. I know I mostly talk about the Stewers and the swing fails, but that double bottom, that it doesn't happen as often, but it is one of my favorite. Yeah, I only watched the retail long short. I don't know. I have a feeling that the top traders one isn't working properly because they're basically the same quite often, and it never used to be like that. So I just keep looking at retail. Zcash has gone vertical. Yes, it has. Have I ever looked at ICP? No, I've seen some other people talking about it recently. I only follow BTC and Ethereum. Most of those that you talk about are not listed on BTC. Oh, not listed on Coinbase. Oh, I gotcha. Well, my thought process on the alts. Will I be posting these alt moves in the Telegram? Yes, absolutely. I will try to start. Basically, I'm going to be looking for more altcoins now. So if anything's really jumping out at me, yeah, I plan on putting them in there as well. So yeah, if that is something that interests you, make sure you're in there, guys. Again, just trying to be the voice of reason, just sharing charts, how I pull my Fibonacci's, really focusing on very basic market structure, higher highs, lower lows, that kind of thing. It goes a long way, you guys. A lot further than any tweet, any announcement, anything like that. Played some Superfib shorts all the way down to this morning, had a feeling and closed them all before the pump in profit, but I was scared too long. Well, hey, profit is profit. I also never took that long. You don't have to catch every trade, right? There's always more trades out there. There is going to be so many trade opportunities in the altcoin market. Winning more trades with my system, that is awesome. I love to hear that. Anything that helps just fine tune your own strategies or anything, right? Because that's the thing. Everyone can look at them a little bit different, but even if it just helps fine tune your own strategies or anything, I love to hear that. Can I take a look at ASST? Basically, what I see out of it already, just at a quick glance, it does look like it's traded higher after hours anyways, but still holding a nice uptrend, right? Because this would have been the high on the trend, and it has since set a higher high. Actually, I should say up here. So that being said, basically we have our confirmed higher low right here, and we also have the MDX Trendmaster coming up as support below. That's on the 5-minute. The 4-hour, I mean, we broke this very tight consolidated range down here. So yeah, technically we could be in some sort of an uptrend there. But what kind of a stock is this? It does look like it broke some structure on the 4-hour. It still has resistance from the indicator, but I always go chart structure first, indicator confluence is next. So the fact that it's so volatile. So basically how this looks on the 4-hour right now, it basically has to hold this level, right? Because this basically here we ended up breaking. Well, after we ended up breaking this very little wedge down here, I know it's microanalyzing, but that's such a tightly consolidated wedge. And then we ended up flipping that wedge into support. Basically, I want to see us hold these lows here. Or actually, you could even pull a fib, something like this. To see any sort of strength, I would want to see us hold Stuber fib, something like that. And notice the 886 also lines up with that little bit of structure I pointed out there. So I would like to see us hold above that. If BTC gets back to 99K and the RSI breaks below 30, am I taking a long? No. Good question, but no. My reasoning for that is with the RSI, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that below 30 means oversold and above 70 means overbought. In a downtrend, that RSI being that low would actually signal a shit ton of strength to the downside. If it gets a divergence like the one I was talking about earlier, that's different. But as far as the RSI just specifically going down there, that would be just showing a ton of strength from the bearish side. Just like with bull markets generally on the weekly time frame, the RSI will be overbought for the majority of a bull market, because that's actually saying in an uptrend that there's a lot of strength there. I mostly trade the tether pairs. Yes. With me on troll, right on. Got a fellow troller in the audience. Perfect. Again, that's obviously a very high risk one. Low market cap, meme coin, but it's at a buy level. It's something that I wanted to buy anyways. And even if it goes into a bear market, I'm comfortable buying it just because it's an OG meme. They own the legal rights, whatever. As far as looking for fundamentals, at least it's the only meme that makes sense to me. Maybe I'm old, but yeah, anyways, as far as meme coins go, that's the one that I've been accumulating recently. So we'll see. But anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So if you did appreciate this live stream, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see more examples of just some of my trade setup ideas, how I look at market structure, how I pull fibs, just some of my personal favorite strategies in general, just trying to be the voice of reason in these crazy markets, do yourselves a favor, scan the QR code on the screen, get in there. And guys, also that would get you signed up under me on BloFin, a no KYC exchange. They are currently giving this deposit bonus promo to my followers, basically going for a couple of weeks here. And like I said, that also gets you access into my Telegram channel, where a lot of people love to see so many people saying good things about the Telegram. You guys absolutely love it. And also in the description down below, you guys, there is a link for an open Discord as well. This one is totally free, no signups for anything else required, anything like that. I do get all the signals from the Telegram in there. It's just that there is about a 3-day delay there. It's just more of a sneak peek into my Telegram. So if that is something that interests you, do yourselves a favor, get in there as well. With that, my friends, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So one last time, if you did appreciate this live stream, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the stream. Probably no stream from me tomorrow. Saturdays have been quite tame recently, and I might be away. But Sunday, hopefully, if I'm back, I will do a stream before the weekly close, hopefully, just as volatility starts picking up again. So with that, stay safe, my friends. Peace.